Hola, benvenido. Welcome to MVP Hot Seats. I'm Ibrahim Ababu. Today, I'm joined by a charming and well-experienced Latin American leader who heads the Latin American Energy Organization, OLADE, Mr. Alfonso Blanco. Mr. Blanco has been the Executive Secretary of OLADE since 2017. He has extensive experience as an energy specialist in Latin America, with emphasis on regulatory issues, energy policy, business development, and financing models. Prior to his current position at OLADE, he was consultant for the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, CAF Development Bank of Latin America, United Nations, and held senior position within the government of Uruguay, leading various components of Uruguay's energy transformation. Welcome, Mr. Blanco. It's a great pleasure to have you on Hot Seat today.
Yeah. Hello, it's a pleasure for me to have this conversation and completely open from OLADE to have this particular discussion. Thank you very much.
And thanks to you. So first of all, starting with the fundamentals, what's OLADE's role and background?
Okay, OLADE is an international organization formed by 27 Latin American Caribbean countries. The organization was established in 1973. The Lima Agreement is the agreement that established the formation of the international body, and OLADE started in 1973 in the middle of the oil crisis. Our actions in the energy sector. At the beginning of the organization was very focused on the oil sector, but after, during these 40 years, the organization had been working in the support of energy policies in Latin American and the Caribbean region, giving information and statistics to the region. OLADE is the official organization that has all the official information of the energy sector in Latin America and the Caribbean. We are now very focused on energy transitions, the joint work regarding the energy sector and the climate actions, and what is the role of the Latin America in the in relation with the rest of the world. That is our actual efforts in the energy sector. We have a very important network working with different agencies around the world, in cooperation with different agencies, and the work of OLADE is to support the energy sector in the region, the energy integration of Latin American and the Caribbean countries, and we are very active in the region and in our role to present the Latin American and the Caribbean to the rest of the world.
Interesting, and it's vital to have organizations such as OLADE, because your role is vital for the whole energy sector in Latin America. So, yeah. Building on that, what's the current energy situation in Latin America?
Okay, the Latin American energy sector is very particular in comparison with the rest of the world. Latin America and the Caribbean as a whole is the greenest region in the world. Why I say that? Because the participation of renewables energies in the primary energy matrix is higher than 30%. If we compare with the rest of the world, the participation of renewables is in is around 13% of the energy primary energy matrix. Latin America is in an outstanding position regarding the renewability, and the situation is caused by two particular energy resources in the region. First of all, the high participation of hydropower in the power generation in the region. We have a very important hydropower production in the region. The second is the important role of the biomass in the energy sector, not only for use of residential sector. The biomass is part of the renewable fuels that are used in very important economies in the region. The development of biofuels in the region is very high, and the use of biomass in the power generation is very high in the region in comparison with the rest of the world. The participation of other energy sources, for example, our region has a high penetration of natural gas in the energy matrix, but in comparison with the rest of the world, the participation of nuclear energy is lower in comparison with the OECD countries, and we have only three countries that has nuclear energy in the region incorporated to the power sector, and that is a preliminary overview of the offer of energy in the region. If we consider the demand side, considering the different sectors, 40% of the energy goes, around 40% of the energy goes to the transport sector. The transport sector is energy consumption that is very focused on the fossil fuels demand of the region. We are working a lot in order to implement energy policies to give more energy efficiency to transport, to work in the substitution of energy sources in the transport sector, but it's if the movement in the demand of the transportation is low, a low velocity in the transformations are very difficult in this particular sector of the demand. The industrial sector has around 28%. The rest are residential, commercial, and agro sector.
Interesting. It's great to see that there is renewables already in place, such as you said, there is renewables and also hydro, which is not available in every country in the world, but in the landscape of Latin America, you have that advantage of having hydro power added to the mix. And with that,
additionally, I want to add that the incorporation of non-conventional renewable energies in our region is advancing a very important rate, because wind energy and solar energy in our region is an abundant energy resource with very good conditions for power generation from solar and wind in a great part of our continent.
Yes, and it's great to hear that. So going along with the same subject, Is there a strong regional cooperation between Latin American countries? For example, a regional grid or any cooperation that two or more countries are having together in the region?
Okay, our organization has a very important network, not only in the region with the rest of the world. Now we have the European Union as a part of our organization as observer. We have Australia as an observer country from our organization too. But additionally, we have very important agreements with the different international agencies. We are working very close with IRENA. We are working very close with the International Energy Agency. We are finalizing an MOU with the International Atomic Energy. We are working very close with the different international cooperation around the world. We are working with the German cooperation. We are working with Austrian cooperation in action, specifically in our region. We are working in the past with the Canadian cooperation. We are working with the different development banks that has actions in the region, with the World Bank, with the Inter-American Development Bank, with CAF Development Bank, the Development Bank for Latin America. We are working as an implementation agency in the region for energy projects all around the region, with different funding and different sources of financement for specific projects in the region. Most of them focus on the strengthening of the policies and institutional framework for the energy sector. We are not working particularly in infrastructure projects. We are working more in the strengthening of the policy framework, in the strengthening of the capabilities in capacity building in the region, in order to generate a technical approach from the government for the long-term energy vision, with in the energy planning, and giving support to our member countries in the preparation of the energy policies for our countries.
It's fantastic to hear that. And how are the countries of the region coping with the Paris Agreement commitments?
Okay, regarding the energy action, the climate actions in the region, the region is very committed with the climate actions. Most of our countries are improving their NDCs in order to have more ambitious goals regarding the climate actions. Most of our countries are working very hard in net zero emissions strategies up to 2050. There are countries in the region that are completely involved and committed with the Paris Agreement goals and all the climate actions for our region. And there are examples of countries in the region that, for example, are net zero right now, are carbon neutral right now. And what is the additional actions that we are doing in the region? We are creating an initiative that is the RELAC initiative, to have up to 2030 70% of the power generation from renewable energies in the region. There are 13 countries that signed the incorporation to the RELAC initiative. That is a very ambitious initiative for for the region. We are working very hard with the countries in order to increase the participation of the renewables, because our region now has 60% of the power generation from renewables, and we want to increase up to 70% in 2030. That is positioned our region as the more greenest region in the power generation around the world. We now have countries with 100% renewability in the power generation, or close to 100%. Paraguay, Costa Rica, Uruguay, that are very are examples around the world regarding the not only climate actions, the actions in the energy sector in order to promote the energy transitions.
Indeed, there are examples, great examples to see, like near 100% from renewables, and the region as a whole at 60%. That's great achievement. And the commitment for 2030 to 70%, those great numbers that all the region of the world should take example of. And another source of energy that could help with reaching out higher numbers is nuclear. So alongside the renewables, of course, and we would now focus on nuclear side, and to ask you what is the overview of nuclear energy in the Latin America region?
Okay, as I said, we have three countries in the region with nuclear power generation. One is Argentina, the other is Brazil, and the other is Mexico. The development of the nuclear energy in our region started a few decades ago with an important incorporation for the biggest economies in the region. These three countries has operating the nuclear power plants for a long time. Now Argentina is under process to commission a new phase of the power generation. Brazil is incorporating in the energy planning the incorporation of new reactors for the power generation, and that's are the movements regarding nuclear energy in the region. There are countries that are thinking in small reactors for the power generation, but you have to know that there are other countries that have, regarding nuclear energy, some legal restrictions in order to incorporate nuclear energy. That is part of the legal framework of the energy sector in the Latin American region. As you know, the new technologies for small reactors probably could be a solution for small economies with small energy demand, but there are other countries that has a very high penetration, for example, for hydropower, that is complementary with other energy sources, like the non-conventional renewable energies. The viability, the feasibility of the nuclear energy depends of each country, the size of the demand, and the cost of this energy for the energy matrix. Now we have a very competitive cost for non-conventional energy sources in the region, with, for example, lower than $20 per megawatt hour in the north of Chile for the solar power generation, with factor capacities for wind higher than 50% in great part of the of the continent, and so the cost of non-conventional renewables are very low in comparison with the rest of the world in the region, in some countries, and the possibility for increase the penetration of nuclear energy depends of the comparison costs with other technologies. Most of the country has a diversification strategy for the energy sector and not to focus on one only energy source. Most of the countries has the goal to decrease the emissions factor for the power generation, decrease the dependence from fossil fuels. That is part of the energy policies in the region in coordination with the environmental policies. There are other sub-regions that are very particular, like the Caribbean, because the Caribbean doesn't have the better conditions for renewables in the region. The capacity factor for wind is not so high than we can observe in the south of South America, for example, or the solar power generation in the Caribbean it needs a lot of land for the solar power generation. That are constraints, particular constraints for the Caribbean region. They are very dependent from fossil fuels for the power generation. In that sense, the role of new technologies for the power generation for the Caribbean could be very important to explore. Additionally, we have Central America with high penetration of hydro in the power generation, and interconnected system between the Central American countries. Central America are very focused. Some countries in the Central America region are very focused on the renewability of the energy sector, and well, that is the general overview regarding the nuclear energy. I didn't talk about the case of Mexico. Mexico is a completely different analysis. The case of Mexico are very related to the development of North America too, regarding the interconnections, the role of natural gas in the Mexico energy matrix, and that are the vision of the government for the development of the energy sector, incorporating nuclear energy that is not very clear in the middle term.
Yeah. And indeed, it's a very large region with different. Each country has its particular aspect, and its sub-region, we could say, for example, Central America, South America, Caribbean are different, and each one has its own challenges and advantages for each source of energy, for renewables, for nuclear, for gas, etc. Yes, indeed. And going along what you mentioned about nuclear, you mentioned already Brazil and Argentina are looking to develop more nuclear power, but are there other countries in the region that are considering building nuclear power plants, and which one, if any, have stated it already?
Yeah, I am convinced that after Fukushima in the region, the nuclear has a decrease in the region as a energy source to be considered in the region. Now, I can observe that there are countries like Brazil that is incorporating in the long-term vision the role of nuclear energy, and smaller countries now could start to think about nuclear energy. I believe that there's a new the force for the development of nuclear with new technologies in the region. That is part of our agreement and our role in the region to work, for example, with the International Atomic Energy in order to identify which is the best option for the consideration of Latin American countries. But as I said, there are some countries in the region that are not able to consider nuclear energy because there's a legal framework that didn't give the possibility to incorporate nuclear energy in the power generation, and that is the general overview about nuclear. I can say that nuclear now is present in the consideration of the as part of the bin of energy sources to be incorporated in the future. There are some restrictions regarding nuclear energy because the long-term the vision, the size of the reactors to be incorporated, the necessity to create new capabilities in the country in order to think and to incorporate this kind of energy source. But after Fukushima, the region didn't think about the nuclear energy. Now this is starting to be developed with the specific cases like Brazil that is incorporated, and after that, I believe that we will see a movement in that sense.
Yes. To summarize, after Fukushima, all the plants went to a bin, or so basically no one was considering in the region nuclear anymore. But since the last few years, there is a revival for nuclear, as you said. Brazil, France have.
And you know that the different signs from the international community are very important. For example, now France is incorporating a new vision regarding nuclear, with new developments in order to reduce the
carbon emissions.
Fossil fuels emissions. Nuclear now is part of the discussion in the climate change arena. No, yeah. Probably 2 years ago was not part of the discussion in the energy mix for the world in the future. Now is part of this discussion, and I believe that there's a very interesting movement in that sense. The different agencies are very active in that sense too, and nuclear now is part of the solutions for the climate problem.
Yes, exactly.
Climate
And
change problem.
we can see example in the EU, the European Union taxonomy. They have classified. They are working on classifying nuclear as sustainable. So, and in addition to that, there is new advanced technologies and SMRs, for example, which is a new option for countries that are smaller, that are getting better. Getting better fit for many countries that, as you mentioned, had smaller grids and they are less complex, etc. So, what's your opinion about SMRs? Do you think they are good fit for the Latin America region?
Now in the region, the new small scale technologies for power generation from nuclear are not well known about our energy officials in the region. I believe that we have to work a lot in order to give the correct information for the policymakers in the region in order to incorporate this kind of technology in the energy in the energy diversification of the region. We have to work a lot in that dissemination of information and to create confidence in our energy officials in the region regarding the technology and what are the roadmap that each country have to implement if they are thinking in nuclear energy in the future. I believe that now is a good time to start this kind of knowledge dissemination. But right now, most of the countries doesn't have the enough information in order to consider this kind of technology. The only countries that have very important capabilities in order to have this type of analysis are the countries that are nuclear right now, like Argentina, Brazil, or Mexico.
Yes, exactly, indeed. And that's why more SMR vendors should reach out to energy leaders in the region to pitch to them or to let them know what's different about SMRs and how it could be implemented in their country.
And the other part of the support for the policymakers should be to provide proper figures for the development of this kind of technology. Now we are not very sure about the comparison costs between new nuclear small scale technologies in comparison with other sources that are in the region with very good condition, very low cost for the power generation, and that is part of the analysis that should be provided to our energy officials. Exactly. Now the levelized energy costs for the renewables in the region are very low, and now the region is incorporating a new strategies, for example, for hydrogen power, hydrogen production, in order to create fuels from hydrogen to export hydrogen to other economies, and that is a very important action and a very important strategy that some countries in the region are considering.
Yes, and it is a vital development. So to conclude this interview, one final question. In the future, how do you imagine the energy landscape in Latin America?
Well, I can imagine our region as a leading region regarding renewability, the role of the not emissions technologies in the energy sector. We can imagine our region as a leading region regarding the climate actions. We need to achieve these goals a lot of investment in our region. I can imagine the energy sector as a catalyzer of the economic development of our region. I am convinced that we have that kind of possibility in the region to create a very ambitious energy sector with low dependence from fossil fuels, with a very important role of the extractives in our economies, but more related to, for example, critical minerals and other resources that our region has and are very important for energy transitions in the future. I can imagine our region with 100% of access of our population to the electricity, a more electrified energy consumption, and more modern markets for the energy sectors with new business in the region. I am convinced that there are a lot of countries in our region that are doing a great job in that sense, with very important advances, with leading countries in particular areas of the development in our region. And I am completely convinced too that the commitment of our countries regarding greener economies, more focus in the development of our people and our sustainable development is an important part of the agenda of most of our countries and decision makers.
Indeed, and it's vital and essential indeed. Gracias, muchas gracias, and thank you once again, Mr. Blanco.
It was a pleasure, Ibrahim, and for us in OLADE, we are completely open to share our actions in the region. We are completely committed with the development of the energy sector in the region, and completely open to share our advances and our weakness to in order to have the international support in order to improve our energy sector and climate actions.
It's great to have an organization like yours in all over the regions of the world to push for the implementation of energy and collaboration between intergovernmental between the regions, and also collaboration between the international community and the region. And you would be the link that will be in the middle and helping out this. It's great, it's stimulating to hear about all those remarkable progress that has been undertaken by the different countries in the region, and not to mention the great work which OLADE is involved in. So with that in mind, I would like to share with our viewers that to accompany this development in Latin America region, MVP will be hosting an exclusive virtual meeting which will discuss the latest nuclear power program developments in the region, called Latin America MVP Lights, which scheduled on the 6th and 7th of April. So for more information, please visit our website. Some final words, Mr. Blanco? before we finish?
It was a pleasure. I am convinced that we can work a lot in the region, supporting the actions of our countries. There's a very important gap between Latin American countries, and our mission is to reduce these kind of gaps, to provide energy access to all our population, and improve the conditions of living of our people.
Exactly, and you're doing great job into that. So in the meantime, stay tuned for next episode of MVP Hot Seat. Hasta luego.